Good morning, everyone. This past Shabbat, we had Rabbi Moshe Lefkowitz from Israel, who runs an organization for poor families called Afikim, and we made an appeal to support poor families in Israel for the holiday of Pesach. There's an ancient tradition called Ma'os Chitim, where Jewish communities would raise funds for poor and needy families. And after Shabbat, on Sunday, I sent out an email to the community with a link to make a donation. And this morning I noticed that one of the people who made a donation was the mayor of Palm Beach. Somehow she got this email. She's not Jewish, but she read the letter that there are poor families in Israel that need food for Passover, and she made a nice donation. I was thinking, if the non-Jewish mayor of Palm Beach gives money for Jewish families, surely we all have to do that. And that's what we do this time of the year. Starting today, which is the first day of the month, Rosh Chodesh Nisan, but it's not just the first day of the month, it's the first day of the whole year, because for the Jewish people, this is the first day of the Jewish year for the Jewish nation. Rosh Hashanah is the new year for mankind, Adam and Eve. Today's the first day for the Jewish nation. Now, when we sit down on the night of the Seder, we begin with a declaration, and we say, whoever is hungry, let them come and eat. Whoever is needy, let them come and join our Passover Seder. And the famous question is, now you say that? What is this, a joke? If you want to invite people to your Seder, get up in the synagogue after the services and say, whoever needs a meal for Passover, come to my house. After you come home and you close the door and you sit around the table, you say, whoever's hungry, come and eat. It's a little late to invite guests. At least go to the window, open the window and shout it in the street. Maybe someone on the street needs a place. But what's the meaning of sitting down at the table and saying, whoever's hungry, come and eat? And there are many, many answers to this question. But a very simple answer is that what we're saying is that we've already done the work of inviting guests. We've already given charity for the poor and needy. We've already thought about who is not going to attend the Seder because they're alone, or maybe they're not observant and they don't know about Passover. And we've already invited all the hungry, spiritually and physically, and those who are in need, to come either to our Seder or to arrange a Seder for them, a communal Seder like the one we have in the synagogue, or giving them funds to make their own. And then we can start the Seder by saying that we're not just here for ourselves. As a Jewish people, we've made sure that whoever is hungry will have a place to eat. Whoever is in need of a Seder will have a Seder to attend. You know, this is about the 3-year anniversary of the start of Corona. And if you remember, of course, it was in 2020, in March, when Corona broke out, and the first Passover that we were all in lockdowns. Now, thank God we've survived, but tragically so many have not. We've all known people who have lost loved ones, or we know people that succumbed to this terrible, tragic disease. But in the first Passover, people were isolated in lockdown. And there was a beautiful story in Israel where there was this woman who had just lost her husband a few months earlier before Passover, an elderly woman. Because of the lockdown, she would have to be alone for the Seder. It was the first Seder in her life that she would not be with family, because when she was a girl, she was at her parents' Seder. And then when she got married, she was with her husband, and then her children and her grandchildren. And now she would be alone and by herself for the first time conducting a Seder. But because of the isolation and the lockdown, she couldn't leave her apartment. Well, right across the alleyway in Jerusalem, there was another family, a religious family with many children, like 7 children. And they knew this neighbor, and so they called to her from the window one day and they said, you know what? We have an idea. At the night of Passover Seder, why don't you move your dining room table to the window? We'll move our dining room table to our window. We'll open the windows and we'll conduct the Seder very loudly so you could hear and participate in our Seder. The woman was delighted. She told her children on the phone not to worry. I'm going to have a place because I'm going to be at the window next to this family. I'll participate in their Seder. I won't be alone. The kids were overjoyed. After the holiday, the children called their mother and said, so how was your Passover? She said, it was amazing, beautiful. They have such beautiful children. I heard them ask the 4 questions. I set up my table, they set up their table, and we sang, and it was beautiful. And then she said, it's unbelievable. But you wouldn't believe it. This family conducted their Seder just like Abba, just like your father, just like my late conducted his Seder for 50 years. It's amazing. All the songs they sang were identical to the songs he sang, and the traditions they did. It was just like Daddy's Seder. It was unbelievable. I felt like my husband was at my Seder conducting it. And the son said, I'm so happy to hear that, Ima, that's wonderful. But little did the mother know that before Passover, this family called this son and said, look, we've invited your mother to participate in our Seder. We know she's a widow. She just lost her husband. It's going to be difficult for her. She's going to have a lot of memories. She's going to be thinking about her late husband and being alone. But she'll be at the window. We'll be at the window. But we want her to feel as much at home as possible. We want her to feel like her husband is still with her. And so please tell us all the songs that your late father would sing at the Seder. Tell us all the customs that he had. We want to practice them and do it exactly the way your father did the Seder. And the son said, that's so sweet, that's so beautiful, that's so thoughtful. And he sent them a recording with all the melodies, all the songs, all the traditions. And the family learned it before Passover and conducted the Seder in a way that this woman wouldn't feel alone physically and not feel alone emotionally. This is what we have to start thinking about today, to make sure that not only do we have a beautiful, joyous, bountiful Passover Seder, but that every single Jew, whether we know them or don't know them, has all their needs for Passover. Have a wonderful day and a good month ahead.